In this second video, we build on what we have just done. So we've taken information from our Excel sheets, we've pasted in the tasks, we've pasted in our duration, taking note to make sure that when we are talking about the deliverables, we've set the time to 0 days. It's also important to realize that we have set up this scheduling at the very beginning so that it automatically schedules from us, and we've set our date 1 year ahead so we don't get any elapsed time problems. In the next steps, we'll be first of all looking at each of the deliverables and show us how to set that up appropriately. So let's look what we do next to make this a bit easier. So first of all, we select a group. We then go up and we make them, each of these are indented. We indent the tasks. This just adds clarity to the layout. Also allows us to make these as summary tasks where we can actually either expand or compress these when we're looking at it. This can be useful later when we're preparing our reports and we want to create a high order summary of how the project looks. Again, just takes a couple of minutes to make this happen. You can actually see, if we take our cursor over here for a second, I'll show you the next time we actually do this. So you can see that at the moment we have got a summary cursor at the top, but the next one I'll show you again. So before we do this, now we'll go across and show you what's actually happening with the page. So first of all, let's just scroll across for a second. And we can see that we've now got our tasks sitting underneath. Scrolling back a bit, you can see how it physically looks. Again, we've got a bit of we've got some activities sitting here, so let's indent them. And we can see now that we've got a summary over that group of tasks. Okay, let's do the next lot. Once we've indented it, then the deliverable becomes a sort of a summary of everything underneath it, which makes it a bit neater. Now what we can actually do with these summaries is we can actually hide everything else underneath the summary. Let's just do that for the whole project for a second. We'll just make sure each of them are hidden. And when we scroll across to the Gantt chart now, it just comes a way of just looking how different things are actually linking and relating to each other. So it's just a way of presenting information. Now we'll expand all these back and we'll start now looking at the next section where we note that within Microsoft Project there is a range of additional tables and a lot of additional information that you can actually use. A lot of these additional tables we've spoken about in previous lectures, but one which is of particular use is the determination of slack time. So when we look at the table, make sure everything's expanded. Scroll a bit. In subsequent videos we're going to be talking about resources. Again, this material links back to the video that we've looked at, but we'll step through this and we're going to be looking at the issue of free slack. So we notice that when we've got free slack we have 0 days. 0 days tells us that that activity is on a critical path or critical paths. We've got to be a bit careful with assuming that just because it's 0 days that there is only one critical path for the project. There may be numerous critical paths. This becomes a little bit clearer when we look at our Gantt chart. So let's just go to the Gantt chart on the side, and let's see if we can reduce this a little bit to make it a bit more visible. But not too sure how easy we can do that. And let's see if it's showing us our no, that's a bit too reduced. Let's see if they're showing us our critical paths. And let's just go across, and we might make it a bit larger because we're losing track of this at the moment. So let's expand it out a bit more than that. It's got too small for us. So we'll just take a second to expand this out a bit more. So it's taking a bit of while to update. Again, it's easy to lose track of things sometimes. Now you'll notice that we can have a look at the Gantt chart. The people who have got quick eyes will notice something interesting. If we look at slack days and we go across, we will notice, and we've got to be careful with some of these arrows because we've got these predecessors a little bit awkward. That's why sometimes you may want to tighten this over here, but this is sort of good enough as a beginning. You'll notice that even though they've got 0 slack, there's no great indication that they've actually got 0 slack. How do we make this obvious to ourselves? Well, we've got to first of all go into the format and click on critical tasks, and you'll see that the critical tasks are actually sitting there. That's neat. Another button we can click on just to show you, we can look at Slack. We can also click on the Slack button. And you can see that doesn't give us as much useful information. So we can actually see that we're getting those little arrows at the end, which sort of means that's as far as we can actually extend that task. That can be useful for leveling when we want to see how far can we level that task without actually having an impact on the critical path. Let's scroll down and look at a couple different examples of this. So here we've got a couple other activities which tells us the slack. If we go back to look at that slack, and now let's go back to the column on the other side, we can see with this task, if we take our eyes across, the amount of slack it's showing us is 3.17 days. If we look at the next task, next level down, you'll see that the amount of slack is only 1.08 days. Now, this amount of slack becomes interesting because it tells us whether we have a near critical path. A near critical path links back to the project duration. So in this case, we have a project that has a duration of 1.17 days, and the slack is 1.08 days. So yeah, it could become a near critical path. Again, the one above is only a multiple of 1. The duration is 3.17 days, and the slack is 3.17 days, almost the same. So it could be, but less likely than the task 28. Now let's continue with this, because what we can do is that, because now that we've got free slack, we can copy and paste this material back into Excel and begin this analysis of what we call finding our near critical paths. So again, we're just going to copy